way you should
All right,
do it.
because just as we start, Pat will put some information that who we are. We're recording this today, January 22nd,
Yeah,
etc.,
yeah.
so that when it's played back. Now let me get this started.
Here we are. This is an interview with Margaret Collins of Bryn Mawr, and the interview is being conducted by Pat Roach and Tiffy Schwab on the 22nd of January.
2003.
2003, yes. This interview is being recorded for the oral history record of Haverford Friends meeting. Margaret, let's get started with some information about you, and can you tell me your full name?
Margaret Hill Collins.
And when were you born?
April 21st, 1908.
Aha. And where were you born?
In Bryn Mawr.
In Bryn Mawr. At
Yeah.
Bryn Mawr Hospital?
No.
No. At
I'm
home.
too old for that. In our home.
I see. And your mother and father were doing, your father was doing what in those days?
He was with our family's business, which was a paper business, making cover papers for books and pamphlets and photographs and so on. It was founded by my great-grandfather.
Really?
Yeah.
So is this company still in existence? Or
No. It lost, and we lost heavily in the Depression.
I understand.
In the Depression. Yeah.
Wait, your mother's name was Hill.
No. That was a much older ancestor.
I see.
My mother's name was Robeson, Robeson.
And you were born, and then did you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes. Well, not when I was born, because
No.
I was over in the middle. But the total number, one brother, two sisters, or in other words, 4 children.
4 children. And when you were a little girl, you must have gone off to school. Where did you go to school?
I went to the Shipley School,
Did you?
which was next door. We lived at Bettiswick Coed.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that house,
Yeah.
right across from Goodhart Hall.
Rockefeller Hall, right across from Rockefeller Hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you went to Shipley, and do you have any special recollections of Shipley, something that you enjoyed?
Well, I was sort of the leader of pranks.
Oh, fun.
One time, our classroom was on the first floor. One time, our teacher was late, and I said, well, I don't see why we should have to stay here. Let's jump out the window. So they all followed me out the window, and then we leaned up against the house so she couldn't see us, you see. But she finally detected us. Miss Lowry, who was assistant principal, I guess, gave us quite a spiel, which I had already told the students, my fellow classmates, that that's what we were going to get.
And you were right, I guess. Yes. Well, other than jumping out the window, do you remember anything else about Shipley that you'd like to tell us?
Do I remember anything else about what?
Shipley, that you'd like to tell us.
Well, I remember I had piano lessons in those days, and there was to be a concert, and some of the more promising students were asked to play. Well, I had just learned a new piece, and I only got halfway through it, and I couldn't remember it. Oh dear. So such embarrassment at that age. So I tried again, and I still got stuck, and then I gave up.
Well, those are things that we remember. You're right.
Let me ask, the Shipley School is kindergarten and first grade through 12th grade? So you spent 12 years in the school.
Well, I didn't at all. it goes, excuse me, but it does go through the full,
All right.
it's, they called it lower school and upper school. They didn't have any middle school. But by the time I got to the upper school, I was not very well. I was, well, at that time, my parents took out or tried to take out a life insurance for me. And when we got the results, they said, poor risk. So they couldn't get it. Well, I thought it was such a joke. Here I am.
Here you have it, 92
Thinking
or...
the premiums they lost.
You showed them, I think. Well, when you left
Well, where did
Shipley,
you go
where
then?
did you go
Yes.
after Shipley?
Well, then I went to the Phoebeana Thorne School, which was considered a model school under the care of Bryn Mawr College. And it was an open-air school, which must have been invented in the South because it really had no business being up here.
Girls went there. I had a friend who went there, and she said she's never been so cold in her life. She was at Phoebeana Thorne. But it's a well-known school, and I know that there still is some sort of a connection with Shipley and Bryn Mawr, and I believe they do have some sort of experimental school.
Yes, it's on the Wyndham Avenue and Roberts Road.
I understand.
Yeah.
Then did you go off, after that experience, did you go off to further your education in college, or did you start thinking about what you were going to do with the rest of your life?
Well, after this school, my health was still very bad.
What was the health problem?
And I can't blame the school. But my family decided to take me out of school, and I was tutored.
Yeah.
But I, of course, didn't get all the subjects, math and so on. So when I was ready to go to college, both my sisters went to Bryn Mawr. I didn't have the prerequisites, so I just couldn't even apply.
Oh.
So then I went to a new school. I guess they were hard up for students. Didn't care. And it was Sarah Lawrence College in Bronxville, New York. And they were based on the tutorial system, was totally different. And later, when my sisters were married and living in California, I went out to see them. And I decided I would never get anywhere if I didn't at least get through college. You know, most people have to get a
Graduate.
MA and then a PhD, and goodness sakes, but I at least got to get through college. Then they couldn't figure out where to put me, what grade, because I had such peculiar background. But fortunately, I happened to mention that I had Latin in the school. Well, nobody west of the Mississippi had even heard of it, you know. So they put me in as a junior.
At where was this?
At Sarah Lawrence?
So this was Berkeley.
At Berkeley. Okay.
So I did graduate and got an AB.
Oh, well.
That's very commendable under the circumstances. Well, while you were growing up, were you affiliated with Haverford Meeting or another church?
No. We were officially members of the Church of the Redeemer. This is an Episcopal church. But for some reason, I really never understood it. My father and mother didn't like the minister. And so we went there, I suppose, a very short time. We went over to the Presbyterian church where Dr. Much was the preacher. Do you remember him?
Famous Dr. Much, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember him.
Scotch, yeah. And then when he died, or retired, I guess it was, we went down to my father liked Joseph Port Newton. He was a very somewhat famous preacher. That was in Overbrook. And then now and then we would go to Haverford meeting because Father wanted to hear Rufus Jones. But he would never go unless he was sure Rufus Jones was going to be there. So I had to call up his wife and said, "Is Rufus Jones going to speak today?" And she said, "I don't know, but we are attending." She would never.
I think that is wonderful.
That is.
And your father knew him or was aware of how he...
Wait a minute.
Your father knew Rufus Jones?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he revered him, I'm sure.
Admired him very
Yes.
much, yes. So that was the beginning of my interest in Quakerism, although I did know that our family way back were Quakers.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, it goes way, way back. I had a chair of this man, Isaac Collins, who was a printer in the days of the Revolution, of the American Revolution.
Oh.
And he published, among other things, the first regular newspaper in New Jersey. This was at the time of the Revolution, and the Quakers thought he took too favorable a turn, and it was against the principles of Quakers, yeah, and they put him out.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, he was read out.
Read out of meeting.
Read out. I'm going to just read into this report the fact that we're looking now at a biography of Isaac Collins.
Oh, really?
A Quaker printer in the 18th century, and it is by Richard Hickson, and it was published in 1968 through Rutgers State University. And how interesting, this man was your great-great-grandfather, do you
Something
think?
or other. I don't know how many greats, but
it was great-great-great,
Great
maybe
line.
even. All right, fine.
And he was a Quaker, although read out of meeting.
Yeah.
Well, you must...
But I just should add that the Friends finally saw the light themselves, and he was a very fine man. And so after, about 10 years later, then they readmitted him.
Oh, did they?
He had to admit his error, I think.
And what again did you say he was read out for doing?
Well, he was head of this newspaper, and the newspaper reported the battles, and it was a very important paper.
The only one for a while.
For the revolutionary force, they knew what was going on.
And I guess the Quakers didn't want to hear about the battles.
Or felt
I guess so. I don't know.
Well,
maybe this is covered in the biography here.
Oh yes.
Oh, fine.
I guess that must have been mentioned. And then his son, Isaac Jr., I have his portrait up there, was one of the founders of Haverford College.
Oh.
And
Isaac
there's
Collins,
a plaque in Founders Hall, just as you go in to the right, I think that's where it is. It gives the names of the founders, and Isaac Collins Jr. was one of them. He's my direct ancestor, and then it comes on down. So.
Well, you had very early affiliations then with Quakerism and came back to it, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
Tell us what drew you to Haverford meeting.
Say it again.
What drew you to Haverford meeting?
Oh.
Your father took you there, but as you got to be a young woman.
Yeah. Well, I approved of their principles and the fact that they lived up to them, and it wasn't just paper. I believe in this. It was that they stood for something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you knew Rufus Jones, and you knew Tom Kelly, and William Comfort, These
Yeah.
were all men from your middle age, I guess, because I knew them as little girl.
Yeah, I guess so.
And certainly the college was well represented at Haverford meeting. Great many
Yes.
of the professors
Oh, yes.
were there.
There were two professors who came pretty regularly and spoke frequently. And I just can't remember their names right now, but I could tell it to you when it hits me. They were very nice.
Dick Sutton would be one, maybe. Dick Sutton? Sutton. Dick Richards?
Yeah, Richard Sutton.
Yes.
The other one was,
Wilson. Albert
there
Wilson.
we are. Those are the two names I was trying
Well,
to remember.
I remember them too.
Do you?
Yes.
Now the Wilson I thought was so nice because quite soon after I became a member, I just happened to get sick. I had a very heavy cold. Well, I didn't think anything of it, but he bought and brought over to me a huge bunch of flowers.
Oh, how
And I
nice.
thought it was so nice of him. Why would he pay any attention to me? But anyway,
He was a nice man.
yes, I'm so glad you remembered his name because I knew it and I just was trying to
Well,
remember.
it's hard to remember all these things. All right. Well, you became very involved with the Quaker movement.
Yes.
And would you like to tell us what you did?
Maybe we can get to this by following your life a little after you graduated from Berkeley. After living in California, then, did you come back east?
Yeah, I came back.
And then tell us what
Well,
happened.
then I went to graduate school at Bryn Mawr.
Oh, so.
They're not quite so strict about getting in as they are if you're in for an undergraduate. So they didn't care whether I had Latin or hadn't had Latin or math or what it was. I went to it was then called the Corolla Wearerschaffer. You know it. Terrific name. It's a school of social work. That's what it boils
so,
down to.
right.
They
I don't know
finally
the
found that the name was too long to say or spell.
School of Social Work will do very nicely. And
So I went there for 2 years and I got an MA.
Oh, yeah, all right.
And it was the time of Herta Krause. She was a member of our meeting.
All right.
And she had kind of an influence on me, and I admired her.
Tell us a little about her. Tell us a little about her and why she influenced you, how she influenced you.
Well, she sort of spotted what my abilities were, I guess.
she was a refugee.
Yes.
Yes, she was.
Well, I guess she was, but she wasn't one of the group that came over here as refugees.
Right, but she had been one.
Yes.
And she did come over. She was a very imposing woman.
Yes.
And I can understand how you would be influenced by her. Well, tell us a little more about that.
Well, I don't know that I can say, except that she, well, I'd back it up a little bit.
That's fine.
When I was at the college, we had to do field work. I was in social work. So I had to do field work as a caseworker. Well, one of my cases was a person with 11 children. So I advised her, I hope she was paying attention to Planned Parenthood. I told my teacher this. She said, oh, you mustn't make any suggestions. I said, well, you have to. She didn't know about it. So then she said, well, Miss Collins, I think your gifts are elsewhere. Instead of firing me. I thought that was so nice. Well, then when the next year I was doing field work, Herta Krause thought I might be interested in housing. This was the beginning
All right.
of public housing. The first public housing project in Philadelphia was just about to open.
All right.
And I had Dorothy Shaw as my supervisor, and she was a remarkable, wonderful person. So I said to her, they just gave me some dumb job. I said, I'm not learning anything. I think I'll just go home. But I'll come back when you're ready for me. I'm afraid I was very nervous. The first project was not ready to open. One of her concerns was that the furniture people were taking advantage of the prospects and saying, well, you're moving into this public housing thing. You, of course, must have new furniture. Getting them to go into debt. And it was quite a problem, and she wanted to do something about it. She sort of turned it over to me. I mean, she was the kind of person who would trust you and let you figure out something. So I figured out a demonstration unit which would be available to the public. We used only old furniture and reconditioned it and showed what it cost. This is what you could do. And so that turned out to be quite a success.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
And then the next year, we were going to do it with another project when Dorothy Shaw got wind of the fact that their funds were low and they were going to dismiss me. They couldn't have me. She said, you better resign because you don't want on your record that you're fired. So that kind of finished that. But it gave me a start.
It gave you a start, and it developed your interest in housing and
Yes,
underprivileged people.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how that went on?
And how did that follow on?
Yes, how did that follow?
Well, I have to put another piece in here.
All right, please do.
Which had a very great influence on me. And the Haverford meeting comes into it. As you know, Haverford meeting from time to time offers, I think they now charge, but anyway, other organizations to use their room or something. Well, I have to back up a little bit more. At that time, I was also, before I joined, I guess, I went to Radnor meeting now and then. I mean, I liked it and it was nearby. And one time I heard a black woman speak at the forum, and I was very much impressed by her. And a few weeks later, there was an NAACP meeting at Haverford meeting. This is where Haverford comes in. And I went to it, and there was the same woman. And she, for some reason, remembered me, and I suppose I'd gone up and spoken to her. And in the course of conversation, she said, I am inviting a few people to supper on Saturday evening. I would love to have you come. Well, I said I had another engagement. It was a family wedding I was supposed to go to, and I don't know if we get out of it. But I would like to come. I will come if I can. So I put in my appearance at the wedding and then departed.
You went. Now, Margaret, about when was this? Was this in the 1940s or 50s? Hard to remember.
Now, wait a second. This was in the 40s.
I thought it might be.
40s.
All right, now go on. So you went to her home.
I went to the party. What's this? Somebody going in?
No?
I think there was just a... Would you
No,
like
I
me
don't
to,
think so.
You're doing a lot of talking. Would you like me to get you a glass of water? Would that help?
That would be nice.
I think I'll do that.
Sorry, I put this book here.
There's a right on your right. Well, then she'll find us. Oh, dear.
Well, so did this woman, this black woman, live nearby, live here?
No.
No.
No. She lived in what's called, you may not know this, Mount Pleasant,
Okay.
which is a section of Wayne.
All right, okay,
Yeah.
all right. And that's where you went to her home inn for
Supper.
dinner.
Well, this was the first time that a black person had ever invited me socially,
Yes,
to
yes,
her home
yes.
to dinner.
Yes.
Lots of people had, when you asked a person at that time if they knew any black people, they said, oh yes, our laundress is a black one, but there was no social connection.
That wasn't Maisie, was it?
That's fine, that's fine. Thank you.
That wasn't Maisie. The
Yeah.
black lady, was that Maisie?
Maisie Hall.
It was.
Maisie Hall,
Yeah.
oh,
And she's quite well known in these areas.
Yes.
This area.
She what?
She's quite well known in this area.
No.
now,
Yes.
right.
She's just had her 100th birthday.
I thought I had heard that, just had her 100th birthday, all right?
So, she, well anyway, I had a nice time but it made me realize for the first time that there really was a complete gap between the black community and the white community, except on a employer-employee relationship. And so I, at that time, was on the Race Relations Committee of yearly meeting. I don't know if they still have it or not.
I don't know.
Well, I thought something could be done, but the question is what?
How? What and how?
So one day something occurred to me, so I called up Maisie Hall, and I said, Maisie, I have an idea I would like to discuss with you. When may I see you? She said, well, I'm home now. Why not now? Come over. So I did. So I explained what I had in mind. She listened very attentively. And then, instead of pulling the plan apart, which many people would have done, she said, when do we begin? It was the most positive one. She was always encouraging people. And so we began. We called ourselves, I'll tell you what it was, Fellowship Weekends. And we were co-chairmen. The idea was that white people who were interested would invite a black family to come out for the weekend. And we would have about 4 host families and other 4 guest families. And then we would do things together, and we would go to our local church or Fellows Friends meeting, which of course we did here. And at the first meeting, which was held right here in this room, in the evening, one of our black guests said, if housing were available, there would be no need for fellowship weekends.
Oh.
And so nobody could deny it, but what could we do? And at that time it seemed a far-off dream. But in any case, we had these interracial weekends. Some of the friendships made then are still going.
Is that
Wonderful.
right? Good.
I called on one of the people who's now in the Methodist home. She had a stroke, and I went out to see her. And we've kept up, and the children. And
Isn't that great?
it's amazing.
Goodness, yes.
So then, my brother-in-law in California
Sorry.
wrote to me that a classmate of his was coming to Philadelphia to work for the service committee, and he thought I would enjoy knowing him. So I delayed, lingered, and waited. I couldn't think of what to ask him to come to. But finally, I heard of a couple of people in Swarthmore who were working on housing and interested. So I thought this might appeal to him, so I invited him. This was Mike Yarrow,
Oh,
and he was an exceptional, absolutely exceptional person, able as they come, and as nice as they come. So I got to know him, and then I got on a small committee, and the result was that was the beginning of suburban fair housing.
Exactly, and that would have been about 1948 or 50.
That was in the middle 50s.
I see.
See, it was quite a while afterwards. And prior to that, I thought, since I was on the Race Relations Committee, I better tell them what I was interested in. So I one time spoke about what I thought might be done, and we hoped to do it, and so on. And Henry Cadbury happened to come to that meeting, and after I had spoken, he said, "This is a concern." You know how people use that expression.
Definitely.
So to have him backing me, it was really something. Well, then I thought Haverford meetings should know something about this. So I asked if we could have a special forum, and I would invite some of the prospective buyers. I thought you ought to see what kind of people we're talking about. So I had a supper party here. I can't remember how many, something like a dozen, plus some of these prospects, some of these black families. And then we went back, and then afterwards we went over to meeting, and I explained a little bit about what we were hoping to do. And then some of them spoke. And so this kind of made a connection with Haverford meeting. That's why I'm bringing it in, because you want to. Yeah.
well, thank you very much. Yes, this is of interest.
And so that plus the white families we had turned up when we were had fellowship weekends, we knew we had some support. So that made it very nice. Well,
suburban housing was very successful, and I'm sure suburban housing was very successful,
well, it really was.
and it much due to your abilities in getting off the ground and getting it to work. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the success?
Some of the success?
Yes.
Well, there was a great deal of success, but one of our feelings was that quite contrary to many people, including friends, was that friends are peaceful and all this kind of business, and isn't this really a little too soon to do something like this? You know? We're not quite ready. I suppose you canvass the neighborhood, don't you, before you sell a house? I said, no, we most certainly don't. Well, that doesn't seem right. Well, you know, we had a lot of criticism of that sort. I'll just give one illustration of success. Another thing is we also made a kind of a canvas of our friends and sent out postals and asked them to send them in if they would welcome a family. So we had a pattern. We knew where there were some friends. Well, one time a doctor listed his house with us, and I didn't know anybody exactly in that area, but I said to the buyer, if you would like, I could ask one of our friends to call on you just to be sure everything's all right. And he said, I don't want it. I was the first black man in my high school to graduate. I was the first black man in my job and at work, and why couldn't it work with housing? So he absolutely refused. So I said, all right, we won't do anything. However, a week or so later, after he moved in, I mean, we didn't speak to anybody in the neighborhood. We didn't canvass anybody. I thought I would just swing by. I was over there. And I said, I just wanted to see if everything's all right. And he said, oh, sure, well. One of the neighbors has taken me marketing, taking my wife marketing, showing me where the stores are and things. But he said the most remarkable thing happened. One Saturday I was out cutting my lawn, and my next door neighbor walked over to me, shook my hand and said, before you came, I was saying the most awful things about you.
Really?
I see that I was wrong, and I am glad you are my neighbor.
Oh.
You can't go much further than that.
That's wonderful.
Where was this? In Ardmore or
No, that was in media,
in media?
in a
Oh.
white section of media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you made a big difference all your years of work, and you're still doing it, aren't you?
No.
No, did you stop?
Our main, we miscalculated on a lot of things. One being the friends, the people we knew, didn't really live in the kind of houses that our buyers wanted. They lived in old houses, big houses, 3-story houses. What they wanted was a Levittown house, split-level house, something modern. So we had the most terrible time getting listings. Also, we didn't realize what a hot potato we were holding.
True.
People were really, literally afraid to list with us. One person on our advisory committee was moving to New Jersey. He was expecting a raise. He had to sell his house. Well, of course, he would list with us. Not at all. He was afraid he wouldn't get the raise, and he didn't list with us. Another one was moving as far as California. And he said, well, this will carry me that far. I can't risk it. I'm not going to list it. We had a terrible time getting listings. What we got were spite listings from some people who thought, well, this is a good way to get
back at the
my
neighbors.
neighbor. Well, usually they were unsaleable houses, So the only solution we could see was we have got to get on multiple listings. Now, you know what that is?
Explain that.
You know.
Yes.
Well, try and get on it. You have to be a member of the board. You have to get 2 sponsors in order to be a member, to apply. We were 10 years before we could get 2 sponsors. Here we were limping along trying to sell houses. Well, we finally got our application in. So then 2 brokers called on us, like you two, and asked us questions, and well, we could answer them all. Then when we heard the verdict, they said, well, you're not abiding to our law of no salesman. You've got a salesman on your force. Well, of course, they all had salesmen.
Yes, sure they did.
So we dismissed our salesman, which was a great handicap to us, and applied again next year. Then they thought of something else. It was so minor, I can't even remember it, but we got turned down. So then our board said, I think we'd better sue them. I said, oh no, I think I was all for diplomacy, and give us a little more time. So we waited another year and applied. That time they didn't even give us a reason.
Just said no.
It was just so obvious. And then our board said, we have no alternative. We've got to sue them. So I gave in at that point. I mean, I was convinced myself that we would never get in, and we couldn't survive without multiple listings. And so we decided to sue them. And we got a member of our meeting, and you, of course, knew him, David Fitzgerald is a lawyer, and he was willing to take the case. Well, it would take courage, because he didn't know if he could possibly make it.
It was plowing new waters. He was into deep waters.
Yes, yeah. And he gave us some very good advice. He said, don't sue because of discrimination. Everybody knows it, but it's very hard to prove.
Right.
What you should do is to sue on the basis of illegal restraint of trade. See, the multiple listing service was an indispensable method of spreading the word
selling
and
houses.
cooperating. And it was an illegal, they were restraining trade. So that it was on that basis that we sued them. So we did, and we had to start at the lowest level. That's the Court of Common Pleas in Norristown. Well, at that time, I was the broker. Formerly, I was the salesman, and only salesman. And so I was a sitting duck. Here was a wonderful chance for the brokers to vent their spleen or whatever it would be.
Right.
Now the hearing was before a judge, was not a jury. And I have never seen anything to equal it. One broker after another got up, and in the most vile accusations of me personally, of course. I was dishonest. I stank. They said that several times. And you can't rely on her. She's dishonest.
Oh dear.
And they just said everything that you could think of.
Word. Yes.
So that's the main criticism I got. It was enough. This hearing, instead of taking half a day, lasted for 2.5 days. Anybody?
Yeah, yes, something came.
Here, let me keep going. Keep going.
It's probably all of the students.
Yes, it is. Right, going upstairs, right.
So this went on day after day. Then, well, it was just nerve-wracking.
Terribly nerve-wracking.
It
Very
accused me of
disappointing.
dishonesty, of plagiarism,
My word.
well, I can't even name the things. I don't think in these terms.
Right. Well, that was the mindset in those days. That was the mindset in 1950.
I didn't get that.
That's the way people thought in 1950.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
But you
yeah.
persisted.
So, do we want to wait a minute?
Please go ahead.
She's fine. It's fine. You may go ahead.
Right.
Certainly.
Go ahead. I'm just getting a camera so I don't forget it at the end.
Well, anyway, I thought we have tried, we've done our best, we just have to forget it. And, oh, you're saying picture.
Yeah, along the way. Go speak. Keep speaking.
It may be
Yeah. So, David Fitzgerald said, no, don't give up. You have to go to a higher court. I knew nothing about the law.
Right. Good for David.
David, yeah. And then he took on Robert Sayer, who is a trial lawyer and an absolutely marvelous person. Not that David couldn't do it, but I mean, it give a boost to it. And they were able to skip the state court.
So Bob Sayer helped on
or,
this. He's our neighbor.
No, it wasn't that. It was some intermediary court they would normally have. But they went straight to the state court, and the hearing was held at City Hall.
Wow.
And Bob Sayer gave the, I don't even know these words, you know, the statement. You know. So he gave the thing, and of course was very clear-headed and knew what to do. Then we all held our mouth. All of this took months and even years, you know, to get up to